Hi everyone, my name is Alex.sidorin. I'm the member of the team here at HouseX Seattle. And today I'm very excited to share with you a couple of useful tips and tricks to help you better evaluate your DADU project, to understand how profitable it will be once the project is completed. This year, I started working with my first investors, and naturally, a lot of them are asking me where to build, which neighborhoods to target, what the DADU design should look like, how many bedrooms should they include in their design, and many other questions. And of course, it's overwhelming both for me and for them because there's so many variables, so many decisions to make, and so many different things to consider. And so I decided to record this video to make it easier for you and also for my clients to better evaluate your own DADU deals before the project is officially kicked off. So your ROI as an investor, you're interested in knowing two things, right? One is the construction cost, how much it's going to cost you to build your DADU, and the second one is the resale value of your DADU once it's listed on the market. Two very important things. Now, for the construction costs, I strongly recommend reaching out to your builder, discussing the cost of building a DADU early on. You will see a lot of different quotes from higher to hundreds per square foot to 500 per square foot. The range is very large, and it all depends on the kinds of finishes you're using. It depends on a lot of different factors, such as your DADU design. Maybe you're building on a sloped lot, which will require a lot of, maybe you will have to open up the sidewalk to bring your utilities to the site. And of course, there's a lot of hidden costs to consider and to be aware of early on. So be sure to work with a reputable builder that understands these hidden costs and communicates them to you early on so that you don't see a lot of surprises once you already start building and designing your project. So that's for construction costs. Now, for the resale value, it's a little bit more predictable, although of course the market moves, the market has seasonality, there's ups and downs. The value of your DADU will largely depend on the neighborhood where you're building, of course, on the buyer demographic in that region. It will also depend on things like the school district, and of course the floor plan, the number of bedrooms. Access to your DADU is extremely important. Do you need an easement to get to your DADU, or does your DADU have its own private parking, its own private access? Parking is another important one because some neighborhoods don't really require you to add parking whenever there's enough room on the street for street parking. In some neighborhoods, it's a non-negotiable. You need to have off-street parking or you need to have a garage. So all of these things very much depend on the market. And this is what I'm going to show you today. I'm going to share with you some useful data points and tips and tricks so you can better estimate your deal. You can understand what should ideally go into your DADU design based on similar projects in your neighborhood where you're looking to build, and how much you can expect that DADU to be priced at once it's completed. If you haven't seen this already, Seattle provides you with a digital map. It's an interactive map where you can see all the existing DADUs all around the city. And it's very helpful to know what others are doing, what is being built in your neighborhood. And I strongly encourage everyone who's thinking about DADUs to play around in this portal, to look at the specific permits that people are getting, to better understand what goes into building a DADU. Being familiar with the permitting process is also very important. Of course, you're delegating that to your general contractor, but general awareness about what the process looks like is usually very helpful. Now, this is the development side of things, right? So you won't see any commercial information here. This is mostly just to give you an idea of where these DADUs are being built. You can see the years, the timelines, how long it took to issue the permit. All of these are helpful variables to help you navigate the DADU construction project. But what I really wanted to look at is the commercial side of DADU development to understand what the final DADU is going to look like. Now, when you search on Zillow, Redfin, on Compass, you don't necessarily know if the project is a DADU or is it just another single family home. And I wanted to demonstrate specifically what DADUs are being priced at. And to do that, I had to look at two data sources. One is this one right here. You can actually export all of these records in a Excel, in a CSV file that you can then analyze. And I wanted to cross-match that against sales data from Northwest MLS, which contains all the transactions for all the homes, DADU, condos, whatever it is, right? So I decided to create a tool that would cross-match these two data sources to truly look at DADUs in isolation, understand how those are selling, and what are some of the neighborhood trends. And this is the tool I'm going to share with you today. You can reach out to me. My address is below in the description, my email address. So you can message me and I will reply back with the link to this tool so you can play around with it and explore DADU development in your neighborhood. This is it. This is the final output that I got after cross-matching all the sales for homes within the 800 to 1,500 square foot range, which includes primarily DADUs. And I cross-matched that against the permit records that we just looked at. So it's safe to say that the vast majority of the projects that are here are actual DADUs, right? So what do we have in here? From these 105 DADUs that were sold this year, we find out the following, that the average median sale price is roughly $735,000. Of course, it depends by neighborhood, and we will look by area to understand like how it changes neighborhood to neighborhood. Typical price for DADU is $695 per square foot. Pretty good pricing, to be honest with you. And a lot of the DADUs this year are actually over 1,000 square foot. So now there are a couple of loopholes that builders are using to build bigger DADUs. There's garage conversions, or storage that's later converted into livable space. So as an investor, you can actually build pretty sizable DADUs, way more than the traditional 1,000 square foot. With the new code changes, there's a lot more flexibility to build bigger DADUs. So speak with your builder to understand what's really feasible. And the price range is big. You can see, right, from 400s to almost $1 million, depending on DADU design and neighborhood. You can see that most DADUs are within the 700, 800K range. And it also depends on the bedroom count, right? So out of these 100 something, 105 DADU sales recorded, the vast majority are actually 2 bedrooms. A lot of the pre-approved plans are 2-bedroom homes, and there's 36. Oh, that's the price. So there's 36 sales correspond to 3-bedroom DADUs, and it's only logical that 3-bedroom homes are priced higher versus 2-bedroom homes. And only one transaction for a 1-bedroom home. I'm actually surprised at only one. And you can see by neighborhood. So a lot of the DADUs that were recorded and sold this year are actually in the North Seattle, so in the Ballard Green Lake neighborhood, which makes sense. A lot of development, a lot of density is being added to Green Lake right now, and a lot less in South Seattle, interestingly. Now let's look more specifically by area, right? So you see that the median price by neighborhood ranges quite a bit, and there aren't too many sales for South and Southeast, SoDo, Beacon Hill, Central. So these numbers, I guess I'm a little bit less confident about them, but I'm very confident about these numbers right here, just because there are so many transactions. And you can see that Green Lake, highly desirable location. So the price per square foot is nearly $700. And Queen Anne and Magnolia, you actually have prices above $700 per square foot. Now, size-wise, they're pretty consistent, I would say. And for the most part, these are 2-bedroom homes, pretty standard. And interestingly, Green Lake DADUs, Ballard Green Lake DADUs sell a lot faster in West Seattle, which is in line with my own personal observations. And then when you look at the days in the market, we already looked here, it looks like Green Lake is among the leaders in the north. And then SoDo, Beacon Hill, DADU, although there are not that many transactions recorded, only 4 and 3, they sold under 10 days, within 10 days. All right, so here's some more analysis on the bedroom count. You can see that the median sale price on a 3-bedroom home is typically higher, and that's true for all neighborhoods besides West Seattle. Interestingly, there's a similar. So I guess if you're building a 3-bedroom home in West Seattle, don't expect it to be priced significantly higher versus a 2-bedroom home for the same square footage. But in South Seattle and Beacon Hill, Southeast, the room count plays a more significant role based on this limited data. And this is just to show your median dollars per square foot. To research this even further, I've added a table with all listings. So these listings, you can analyze them one by one. You have information such as the address, sale price, date sold, the type of home it is, the location, the area, and then you actually have the permit number and the link to Zillow. So you can deep dive and look at these specific homes on Zillow and actually investigate further and look at the permits that were obtained for these addresses. And finally, I think the best part was visualizing DADUs and their pricing. So remember, this is only 2026 data. So these are all DADU sales that happened this year. So highly relevant. If you're building a DADU in Green Lake, in North Green Lake, this would be a very relevant comp, right? You can look up this project. You can look at the permits. You can check Zillow. Only 4 days on the market. So this was a very easy sale that it highly premium price. So if you have land near Green Lake, definitely consider building DADUs just because of how desirable these are right now. I have some data for also Magnolia has some really high price points, close to 900, one over 900 for a 1,000 square foot DADU, and only 6 days in the market. So price points are high, but also days in the market are low, which means that you have really good chances of seeing a very high return on your investment in these neighborhoods. Same thing for Wallingford. When we look further south, Central District has a pretty big range, right? So I think this very much depends on the type of home that's built, the type of finishes. So ultimately, this depends on what you're building. Of course, the neighborhood plays an important role as well. You can see a couple of DADUs around the Junction in West Seattle, priced in the mid 700s to 800. And then Delridge for more affordable options in the 600s, even 500s for a 1,000 square foot DADU. So this visualization helps you better understand what you're competing against when you're building a DADU and how much to expect for your DADU project to cost. Reach out to me if you want to get access to this report. I will be updating it every other month so that more recent sales can be added here. I do not know why there's so few in the Rainier Valley. It's kind of surprising. But if you're building in North Seattle, you actually have a lot of relevant comps that you can look at. You can look at these projects, look into permitting, the sale price, days in the market. So hopefully this will help you better understand what your project is going to look like and how good of an investment it's going to be once it is sold. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions and reach out and I will send you a copy. Take care.